Yes. Okay. I think it's being recorded. Yes, got it.
Are you bartending from home? Is this your home bartending stuff?
This is
Your
my dining
puppy.
room.
Ah, I just saw a dog.
Yeah, Kenny, you want to co-host? Ken, I come co-host. Come on, you want to co-host? This was an involuntary thing we learned. This is Kenna.
Hi, Kenna.
Yes. Kenna co-hosts my first call lives at 3:30 in the morning. That was an involuntary command she learned.
She's cute.
Oh, she's adorable. Everyone loves Kenna. She's the main character, so.
Oh my God. What a sweetie. What a collection you have. Sorry.
Yeah, I worked pretty hard on it, to be honest.
This is captivating stuff. People are like listening to me make dog noises. Going, oh, cute dog. Why don't we start with why don't you introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do for a living first off, and then we can rattle on.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Leah. I am a bartender out of Cleveland, Ohio. I work at a very small dive bar. It's a music venue. Like, we don't even charge a cover at our bar. And I make liquor content on the internet. So
cool. Yeah. For anybody that doesn't know, can you tell my listeners like what kind of content? Like, is it like at home cocktails or
yeah, so my channel is kind of split in three ways. So I started off, so my account name is called Bartender Meals, as in like food. It's all one word. It started off with me just making food and making cocktails at the end of it to go with it. And then it turned into me basically taking bottles and drink requests, doing funny skits. Sometimes I promote brands, but most of all, I just make like weird cocktails that no one would ever think to put things together with and turn them into drinkable items.
That's awesome. How long have you been bartending?
I've been bartending for as long as it's been legal for me too. So I think it's been eight or 9 years legally. So
yeah. Okay. Right on. Very cool. I've been at least in the industry for 20 years, whether that's, tables, waiting, serving, bartending. I don't know, all of I've gone through the whole gamut of like crafty bartending stuff to like dive bar scene and neighborhood bars and the whole shebang. So I'm right.
I mean, my mom was a bartender, so like as far back as I can remember, I've been sitting in a bar and I used to get yelled at for drinking all the mini cans of V8 for Bloody Marys. Yeah. So like I grew up in bars. And I started in the industry, my birthday, actually. I got a job on my birthday. They asked me to work that day. So I have literally been working every legal day of my life in the industry.
Yeah, that's great. How's the weather in Cleveland, by the way? Is it warming up there yet?
Absolutely not. It snowed. Like, they told us 3 to 5 inches. There's like a 1/4 inch on the ground. It's kind of cold. It's okay though. Like, but I mean, I don't own a coat. I haven't owned a coat in like 5 years. So what? I just like layer hoodies at this point.
Oh, yeah. Right on. Very cool. Yeah. But in the meantime, we're like, just, it's supposed to be spring, right now. And it's
yeah. Well, I'm just like, I'll just wait for the weather to break and I'll buy a coat next year. And I've told myself that for like 5 years. So
another hoodie gets added. That's great.
Exactly.
Tell me how your channel's doing. I saw a jump in success that you just posted. As soon as I found you, you were like, oh, holy shit. Like I've
had a crazy week. Last Saturday, which is a week from today, I was at 10.6 thousand people, which took me a year to get to. I was doing a big push. I told everyone I was going to drink a shot of Malort at 10,000. It was like this big thing. And then 5 days later, I was at almost 27,000 people. So
that's amazing. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, I almost tripled my channel, and it's been chaotic. It's actually funny story about it. I got off work last night, and since I gained, 17,000 people, it's been really hard to keep up on it. But out of like, I don't have good luck or bad luck, but like I have really weird luck. And I'm only going to say this because I know he would laugh about it. My ex-boyfriend I haven't talked to in 7 years found my channel. And he lives across the country from me. Haven't talked to him in 7 years, and was the first thing I saw when I opened up my TikTok. He posted, I was like, tell him about your karate skills. And I was like, there's no way this guy found my channel. Sure enough, there it is. There's my weird luck. 16,000 people, my ex-boyfriend that lives in Las Vegas that I haven't talked to in 7 years found my channel and commented on it last night.
Wow. That's awesome. When's the time when you're still working right now, correct? Like in your normal like dive bars and
yeah. So I work 30 hours a week in this little dive bar. I've been there for 3 years. It's my favorite job I've ever had. I've never had a job where after 3 years I still love going to work. So I'm really, really lucky. But yeah, I love my job. And like people keep asking me, they're like, are you going to quit your job for social media? And I'm like, no, I'm going to double down and buy a house.
Yeah, that a girl, right on. Very cool. I like that was going to be like my follow-up. When do you quit the regular grind and then start going digital? But that's very wise. I commend you in that in that aspect of like, no, I'm just going to double down, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Make some money, get a house.
I probably won't. Like, I love, just because I love my job, and like all of my regulars are my friends. So like yeah. I get paid to hang out with my friends. So
yeah, that's great. Listen, Leah, how long did, first off, before we get into lightning round real fast, how long did it take you to build up your personal collection of booze? You've got, if anybody's watching right now, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shelves that are split in half. Fully stocked, 7 if you count the top.
Yeah, and they're not even all here. There's a side collection of like backups that don't fit. I actually bought another shelf, so this is actually gonna double. But I actually did when CW Spirits picked me up in the end of May last year, and I had 6 bottles at the end of May last year. So it's we're looking at 10 months, and I just hit over 100 bottles. I think I'm at 104 bottles.
Wow, that's awesome. You never have to leave the house. That's amazing. I try and stay stacked at my house, but I just have like one solid shelf that's just kind of got my essentials. So you're definitely blowing me out of the water there.
Well, it's going to get depleted because St. Patrick's Day is a couple days away, and I am having a first call party. So people will be arriving, all bartenders, but bartenders are heavy drinkers. So all bartenders are showing up at my house at 9 a.m. on St. Patrick's Day because I live 4 minutes from downtown. So no one has to drive once they get here. So yeah, this will not look like this probably in about 6 days.
Oh my God, that's awesome. What a way to give back to the community,
I try to help my friends out.
That's awesome. Yeah, I just recently had a bartender on the on my Shity podcast. So I was wondering if you would be willing to do like a lightning round of questions.
Absolutely.
Cool. Yeah. All right. And they don't have to be like, oh, the best, or oh, the funniest, or oh, the most life-changing. Just something that like comes to mind of like, oh, you know what, this really sucks. What's the most uncomfortable situation? Are you ready, by the way?
Yeah, let's go. I'm here for it.
All right. What's the most uncomfortable situation that you've ever been in at work?
Someone asking me if I wanted to be a part of the threesome when I got off work.
I too have been like, had a little piece of paper slide and like, hey, do you want to bang? And I was like, oh God.
No, it was like verbal and like more than once.
The husband waved at me like, hello. I was like, oh,
yeah,
hi there.
It's more common than you think.
Yeah, he was definitely aware that this was happening. That's awesome. Oh, yeah. What's the hardest time that you've ever laughed at work?
Hardest time I ever laughed at work. So I live by the Christmas Story house, and I wouldn't say this is at work, but they qualify me as an employee. I was actually invited to the Christmas party, so I'm going to count it.
Okay.
A guy was talking about how he rented out the Christmas Story house as an Airbnb and made his wife buy bunny suit lingerie. And I have never laughed harder in my entire life than the time that they were drunk telling us that story. So
Awesome. Have you ever went to work on drugs or alcohol?
alcohol, yeah. Booze is my only vice. I actually don't even smoke cigarettes. Like, I'm a very, very bland bartender when it comes down to it. But yeah, drinking, absolutely.
That's not a bad thing, actually. That will add to your longevity as a bartender. I know people that do drink and bartend and do drugs, and people that don't do, some of that stuff. And
that's why I have a savings. I don't go on ski trips, so I have a healthy savings. So
I know there was a point in my life where I was closing one bar and opening another bar, and I couldn't leave one to start the other. They both sort of needed me. Oh, can you one more week? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I was going home sleeping for like an hour, maybe 2 hours, and then doing cocaine at like, I don't know, 8 a.m. or something like that, like to open, because this was like a hostel. It was like a you could have like breakfast and coffee, but then you could Bloody Marys there. So I had to get there open. We didn't start serving booze until like 10 or something like that, or 11. I can't remember. Sure. But I remember definitely like, well, I'm kind of breaking. This is the stupidest thing I've ever done, because I'm sort of breaking even with cocaine habit, no sleep, and like doing cocaine at 8 a.m. is like the saddest thing ever. I remember thinking like, this is so stupid. What the fuck am I doing?
I feel like most people have had that time in their life though.
Yeah. And it was like, I could not, like the next week happened. It was like, oh, can you one more week? Can you please? I remember thinking like, I got to move to Adderall or something. This is so ridiculous.
I never really had, but now like Adderall, like I was prescribed, oh fuck, I don't even remember what it was called. It was like a knockoff Adderall, and I was just like wired. I was working 3 jobs. I was working 20 hours a day for like 6 months straight with no days off. And God, I can't even remember what the name of it was, but I was on it for like ever. I lost so much weight on it. It was terrible. It was so terrible. Like it was like also like the peak of like Tumblr, like anorexia, like hype phase. So like I was just like super unhealthy. I was just like, I picked up running and black coffee because creamer makes you fat. Like, you know.
Yeah. In the meantime,
I haven't not a good time in my life. Yeah. Stratira. It was called Stratira. Yeah, they had me at like 160 milligrams of this shit. I was like 17 years old. I lost like 40 pounds in it was probably like 6 weeks. I lost like 40 pounds, and my parents were like, this is fine. No one's concerned about this. I was like, why?
No big deal.
Oh yeah, that was like my like quote like drug phase. Was I was like on like the whole like bulimic anorexia Tumblr kick, on like highly overdose prescribed like anxiety medication, and no one said anything about it.
Totally normal, no big deal.
Yeah, like my parents were like, yeah, she's fine, it's totally cool. Like,
she's a hard worker. What do you want? Like, you're like sweating.
Like, I'm working 3 jobs, 20 hours a week at 17 years old, and no one's questioning this.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was not.
No, it never is. Leah, have you ever had sex at work?
No, I haven't.
Nice.
That's something that I never checked off that list.
Do you aspire to?
Well, okay. Well, do you count my ex-boyfriend living above my bar? Because it was technically the same building.
Yeah, totally.
All right, then yeah, for 2 years, absolutely.
Yeah, quite often, as a matter of fact. Right on. That's awesome. Have you ever had, speaking of relationships, have you ever had like your work interfere with your personal relationships? Have you ever like, I don't know, it's difficult sometimes for bartenders to date like bankers, for instance, because they have weekends off and they go to sleep early. They work like 9 to 5, and bartenders like usually go to work at 5, and
Yeah, I actually tend to have a rule of thumb that if someone doesn't work in the industry, that I won't even consider them. Just for the fact that, like, one, they tend to be extremely jealous because they don't understand how, like, that's how I make my money. So like, yes, I dress like I do, and yes, like sometimes we get a little flirty, but at the end of the day, if you're not in the industry, you don't understand that, like, at the end of the day, like, I'm coming home to you.
Right.
So I usually have a rule of thumb about that. But yeah, I've had to interfere, like said, previous question, my ex living above my bar. Like, I mean, like, we remain very good friends to this day, but like sometimes I'm just like, can you fucking leave? So
What's the biggest misconception about like your job, about what you do?
I think the biggest misconception is that people think that I am scamming the government. Um, they're like, oh, you're rolling in all this dough. I'm like, am I really? Because like, I'm questioning if I should go get like a sandwich for lunch, because
Yeah, it's really
I
hard
think that people
nowadays.
think that like we just rip off the government, but like in reality, I'm paying literally thousands of dollars every year in taxes. So like, you guys are getting money back. I'm dreading tax season.
Yeah, it's really difficult to, I think maybe back in the day, it was probably a lot easier to sort of rip out the government because there's a lot more cash, but now it's like everything's on your phones or your credit cards, and you have to report that. Like, you can't clock out the end of the night unless you report it. At least it was whenever I was in the game. I don't know if that's still
Yeah, I think people still do that, but like, I'm trying to buy a house. So for like the last like 5 years, I've been recording every single dollar I've made. And in
totally.
that result, I'm paying like $4,000 in taxes.
Yeah,
So
I know. God, it's such a ridiculous system.
not
Um,
fun. I hate.
um, who's the worst boss you ever had? What's the worst boss situation?
Oh my gosh. Okay. I can now only recently legally talk about this.
Oh shit. Okay.
So I was a bar manager at this place, and my boss was terrible. Like, literally just the worst. Like, he used to put curtains up to the kitchen, so he didn't know that people of color worked in the kitchen. Um, that's when I started there, and I worked there for like 3 years. And I actually, I got roofied. I got not roofied. I got drugged with ketamine. While I was working by myself. The kitchen was gone. It was just me. It was the last hour of work. There was only like 3 people in there. I still don't know who did it, because I was driving home. Well, not home. I was actually driving to the bar that I work at now to have like my little like end of shift thing drink. And I got like halfway and I was like, something's not right. Something is not
Oh,
right at all. Sorry. I was like, something's not right at all. And I happened to be driving past the Cleveland Clinic, like one of the best hospitals in the nation. And I was like, I'm just going to pull in here because something's not right. I don't remember pulling up. I blacked out as I was like pulling up and parked my car. I got tested. I had ketamine in my system. This was a Tuesday at like 10 o'clock.
wow. The
I
craziest
woke
shit
up.
happens on like, sorry. Everybody's like,
Yeah.
I was it a crazy weekend. I'm like, the crazy shit happens on like Mondays and Tuesdays, actually.
Yeah, like it was like dead in my bar. Someone drugged me, and at like 10, it was like 11 o'clock because we closed at 10. And I hit the hospital about 11 o'clock. I blacked out when I pulled up. Someone moved my car, and I came to around like 9 a.m. And I told my boss, I was like, someone drugged me at work. Because I had my glass like on like the ledge, like talking to customers. I would just like leave my water in front of them, like go to the kitchen, do what I needed to do. Well, one of them happened to slip something in there. I told him, I was like, I need the footage because since I got tested, I need to file a police report. And he said that the bar did not want to be involved, and if I pushed the charges, that he would delete the footage. And I told him if he deleted the footage, I was going to sue him for tampering with evidence.
Yeah.
And he deleted the video, so I sued him for tampering with evidence.
Fuck. Oh my God. Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit. And people that
Yeah.
aren't familiar with Cleveland, there's like a strip. And keep me straight. It's been a while since I've been to Cleveland. It's been probably 5 to 6 years since I've been there. But isn't there like a medical strip? Like there is like a full on street that's like, this is medical street. This is like hospital.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I live like a 5-minute walk from it.
Okay, yeah, right on. That was very serendipitous. I'm glad that happened.
It is some of the best hospitals in the world.
Yeah.
And I was just like, I'm just gonna pull into this one.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I ended up suing the owner of that company for tampering with evidence, for deleting the footage because his bar did not want to be involved with me getting date drugged.
Wow, what a dick. Oh my God.
I know. Oh, believe me, I got stories for days about that guy.
Leah, how do you feel about like when you're on the other side of the bar? If you sin, and the reason I bring this up is because I literally like a day ago went to a bar just to grab a beer to like beat traffic. And it was one beer, like $6. And I left a $4 tip. And made it $10 even. And I'm not looking for like a hookup per se, but whenever I was tending bar and someone gave like more than $1 on a beer or a little more than 20%, I would double back and be like, hey, thank you. Thank you. Whoever you are, wherever you are, just thanks. Like that's all I want. The guy looked at the tip, put it in like with the rest of his receipts, just went on his merry way. And I was like, okay, I mean, whatever, dude, that's fine. Maybe you're having a bad day, but a thing. So like
it depends on the bar. It depends on the bar. Sorry, my dog's being whiny. Come here, Kenna. So it depends on the bar. Like I work in a service industry bar. Like we're the local watering hole for the bartenders. So like that's a pretty typical tip in my bar. It's funny because on Friday, I think Wednesday or Friday, we actually had this conversation with like a bunch of bartenders about how like they're like, oh yeah, someone ordered like 12 fireballs and left me like $5. I'm like, if you're doing that, like even if it's just like pouring shots, you should leave $1 a tip. And I was like, yeah, that makes sense. You should have gotten like $12. You know, like that makes sense. That's appropriate. And then he cashed out and he had 8 shots and a beer in his tab and he left me $5.
Fuck, Jesus.
And I called him out on it. I was like, oh yeah, $1 a shot, huh? $1 a shot. He's like, yeah, why? And I printed the receipt out. I gave it back to him. And I was like, count them.
Yeah. It's such a Go ahead.
He ended up ordering another shot and leaving me a $5 tip on one shot. So it just depends. Like I said, I'm in a service industry bar. This is the watering hole. We're open later than all of the bars around us. So like when they get out of work and they close and they're all like, oh, I need a drink. Like this is where they come and they tend to purchase rounds and whatnot and tip very well. But I'm very much like, if you're going to be the person that buys like a round of shots for people, you better be tipping a minimum of $1 a shot, as long as it's at least 20%.
For sure.
So I don't really look at like the amount of tips as being like flirty, unless it's like a person that's never been there or someone that's not in the industry. It's usually just like my regulars being like our sister bars or like our buddies or whatnot. So they tip us very well.
That's good.
Sorry, my dog's being baby.
She's so cute. Don't worry about it. I like it. I think it's charming. And she's so sweet. You just can't get enough.
She's something. You gonna co-host? You want to co-host the podcast? You want to
co-host? I'll try and make this snappy so you can give her a walk or a little more attention.
No, you're. Yeah.
Leah, do you believe in ghosts? Have you ever had an experience with one?
Yes.
What?
Actually,
Really?
my bar is haunted. My bar is haunted. Sit.
What?
Sit. Yeah, sit down. Cannot sit. Stay. So my bar is actually haunted. My bar is one of the oldest bars in Cleveland. It's almost 90 years old, and I have had many experiences. I am the longest standing bartender at my job, and the new girls are like terrified of closing. So we've had like the one girl that works with me, she went to go close the back door, and like there was like a snap, and like scared the shit out of her. She jumped and laughing immediately after. We've had people have their feet pushed off of like the like footrest underneath the bar. We've had experiences with like, you can actually see like a kind of filmy outline of a man that sits down at a very specific spot at our bar. I'm pretty sure it's the owner's dad. The bar technically, quote unquote, opened 2 weeks after Prohibition ended. We have in the basement a tunnel that's been cemented off. There's an entire like railroad, because so I don't know if you know this, but Cleveland was the ending of the Underground Railroad because it was Lake Erie and took you over to Canada. So like a couple blocks from us is the end of the Underground Railroad. So like my bar is actually connected to it.
Wow, cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. It's cemented off, but they used it also for Prohibition. So it's very like it's very unclear if we were a laundromat or a barber shop. If you ask different people, like no one really, it wasn't that, honestly.
Yeah.
But they used to smuggle booze into our bar, and we were a pre-Prohibition bar. The owner that we have now is 69 years old, and his dad, quote unquote, opened that bar almost 90 years ago.
Wow.
We have all sorts of pictures. So yeah, we have all sorts of ghosts in our bar. I've had personal experiences. I've literally been pushed off of bar stools. I have had outlets completely blow on me. I walked into the band room redo venues, and there was a big fan that wasn't even on. And the second I walked in there, the entire outlet blew. There was sparks everywhere. Wasn't even on. So
whoa.
Yeah, I've absolutely had experiences with ghosts in my bar.
Wow, that's crazy. That's awesome.
Most of our regulars have.
Yeah, holy smokes. I can't believe it. That's amazing. That's so cool. Next time I'm in Cleveland.
New bartenders are freaked out like immediately. Like you have to warn them. They're just like, I mean, I've seen bartenders like almost quit over it.
Oh shit. Oh my God. Leah, what's a life lesson that bartending has taught you? Is there something that you can think of where you're like, I probably would have never learned this if I wasn't bartending, or it's a good thing that I learned how to, I don't know, use teamwork. Otherwise I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
I'll give a piece of advice that I use in every interview I've ever had.
Okay.
People tell me, like, you know, when you get an interview, people are like, what makes you special that we should hire you? And I tell people all the time, I make a point to make every customer laugh, because if you laugh, you can't tell me you didn't have a good time.
Right. Yeah.
So if I can make you laugh, you're probably enjoying your stay, you're probably enjoying your visit, and you're probably going to come back.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great.
I tell people, like, if you're coming into the industry and you want to do something, like, make your table genuinely laugh. If they're laughing, they're going to come back.
Yeah, absolutely. I concur. I'd come back.
Yeah.
Right. That's awesome.
I've been making you laugh the entire time. So
I know, right? I know. Leah, what is there a question that you get whenever you're attending bar that you despise? Like, what do you recommend? Or I don't know, like
yes.
Is there a corny like one-liner like, oh, first person in the bar, I hope you have time to get to me, or something like that? Is there anything that just
my least favorite thing is to be like, make me your special. Like, excuse my language, but motherfucker, I make liquor content for a living. I've been doing this shit for a year. I make a different special every day.
I used to open a beer when people would tell me that. I would just grab like a Miller Lite and open it.
Yeah, just a liquor highball. Here's a glass of water.
Yeah. Oh, and people would say, make me what you drink," and I'm like, "Okay." And I would pour them a shot of Jack Daniels, like straight out of the well.
Straight up,
Jack
yeah.
Daniels. That's it, dude. They're like, "You don't really drink this. You were just being like, I swear to God, this is literally my drink."
I'm a little bit nicer, depending on the person. If the person's like not being an asshole, I will make them the shot that I would drink, which would be a absolute raspberry and ginger ale, not chilled, just straight as a shot. Yeah. Or if they're being a fucking dick, I will just pour them a shot of absinthe.
Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, very few people like the taste of like licorice or anise,
it's also like you're just supposed to wash the side of the glass with it. I will pour you a 1.5 ounce pour, you go fucking drink it. So
exactly.
Oh, and I'm also charging you for it, so
yeah, that's great. In every episode I ask all my guests what the worst part of their job is. Do you mind telling us what the worst part about your job is, or something that you despise every time you go into work?
All of my friends want to start drinking as soon as I have to go into work. They're like, "We're day drinking." And I was just like, my day is like, I have to go in like 3 hours. What are you talking about? Like, yeah. I go in at 2:30. You're day drinking? Day drinking for me is 7 a.m. So
exactly. That's bad. I remember that.
The weekends, like I'm really lucky. I have Sundays off. I get off work on Friday at 8:30. But for some reason, no one ever wants to do anything unless it's Saturday. I'm just like, motherfuckers.
Yeah. Hey, there's something special about having a Sunday off, man. I don't know what it is, but working on Sundays, like it takes a thing.
Everyone in the industry, I think, will agree with this. Sundays are for people that are either, and I mean no offense by this at all.
Sure.
Sundays are not for me. I've been in the industry too long. Sundays are for 21-year-olds and single moms that are trying to pick up an extra shift to pay for extracurricular activities.
Totally.
And I mean, no offense by that, like absolutely make your bank, pay for your kids' stuff. But like, I'm neither of those things. I don't work Sundays. I've been in the industry way too long, literally my entire life. I don't work Sundays. That's for the young, and that's for the people paying for extra things on the side.
I agree 100%. I could not agree with you more. And it's a young man's game, and you sort of take it on the chin, so you don't have to work Sunday. It's definitely I don't know. If
I'm picking up a Sunday, you better be dying.
Yeah. That's right. I know it. That's awesome. The last part of this podcast, something that we do. Oh, first off, before we get to the last question, is there something that you want to promote, like your channel? I'll also include a hyperlink to your social media accounts in the show notes, so people can just click on them easily. Do you want to talk about that at all before we move on?
Yeah, I guess one of them would be an actual business. CW Spirits is a company I'm sponsored by. I do affiliate work for them. It's basically cwspirits.com, and there's a discount code on my channels that will give you 5% off liquor delivered to your house in 46 states.
Cool.
But the most important one that I would like to talk about, that I always talk about, is the Dear Jack Foundation. It is for adolescents and young adults who have cancer. It's paying for their travel, stay, treatment, last wishes of their terminal, rehabilitation, because no one thinks about the mental damage that happens when you recover from cancer. You think you're going to die and then you don't. Mm-hmm. It pays for everything. So that's called the Dear Jack Foundation. There's a link for both of them on my TikTok. There is a link tree. You can check that out. I've been working with them for a very long time, and they are absolutely incredible. We try and raise as much money as we can for them every year.
Awesome. That's badass. Very cool. I'll include that link also, or your link tree, for that matter. Yeah. Make it on everybody.
Awesome.
All right. And then the last part of the podcast is we always end with a poop story. Have you ever pooped your pants or come close to it? Or is there somebody that you know that has a better poop story than they're like, oh, I got really close this one time. But my friend, I don't know, Daniel's got a better poop story than I do. Let me tell you his.
Okay.
Do you have a story you can tell us about where you?
There's a regular at my bar. We
Okay.
actually call him Poopy Pants. He was he was actually at my bar yesterday. This guy, I mean, this was before I worked there and before I knew him, but he did shit himself at our bar. So I wish I had the full story for you, but now I feel like I have to like get like the like play-by-play details. But yeah, he has for a this guy's got grandchildren that drink at my bar. So
Poopy Pants doesn't seem like a cool nickname. That seems like
he thrives in it. He thrives in it. Like literally, he walked in yesterday. Like I'm busy as shit. It's Friday. It's 8:30. Like I'm getting busy. The band's starting to set up. I'm just like, hey, Poopy, what's up? And he's like, hey, like, and he's always lived by it. Like he has no remorse for that name. Like he does not care. Like he did the thing. He shit himself at the bar. People have called him that since, and I don't know if he's just come to terms with it or if he's just always just lived up to it. Like, yeah, I did that. So
whatever, man. That's awesome.
But I mean, I can't tell you the last time someone called him by his actual name.
Sure, so, yeah. You're probably not sure what it is unless he gives you like a debit card or something like that. But yeah, you start a tab that says John. Nobody knows who he is. You start a tab that says Poopy Pants. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I know Poopy Pants.
Yeah, I just put Poopy in. So
oh my God, that's awesome. Lee, you did great. You knocked the lightning round out of the park. You did so good. Right. I really appreciate you coming on and doing this. I know you're busy right now, and I know your sweet pup wants a little more attention. So I'm gonna cut you loose. Check out. I appreciate
you having me on here.
Yeah, I want all my listeners to check out your oh, there we go. That's perfect timing.
Come here. Yeah. Sorry, there's someone like, Kenna, come here.
That's okay. That's it for us. Play us out, Shitty Ukulele.